my thing is percussion, hand drums and that kind of thing. And my parents found out that I had a talent. At least it sounded like that, to their ears. I'm beating on, some antique bongos. My folks used to go back and forth to Africa, and exchange, clothes, and they'd give all their clothes and come back with these African artifacts and all these different things. So there was some bongos off the wall. Somehow I got down and started hitting what sounded like rhythms. I thought that they didn't know what that sound was and woke them up. Like, what is that? Do you hear that? What's going on? And, it's like it sounded like somebody that knew what they were doing. So my dad happened to know a friend from Panama who had this African dance troupe. And he brought him by. He said, "Oh, the kid can play. He's got good hands." So he took him with me, and my first gig was down at the First National Bank of Minneapolis, I think where U.S. Bank is now. Okay. And I was standing on top of a chair playing bongos. I actually still got the actual newspaper clipping. It said "Big Drum, Tiny Drummer." And
that's so
I'm standing
good.
on my little daishiki on.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it started, man. And from there, I started... they had a lot of different arts programs for kids when I was younger. There was this place I would go to called the Inner City Youth League. Okay. And they used to have programs for kids, martial arts, visual arts. So be there drawing, of course, music. They had a recording studio in that spot.
Oh, wow.
They would hold also little meetings and, things for the community there, come and talk and voice their concerns and, organize that kind of thing. So I was a part of that. And there's a group called Black Arts Midwest Drummers, and we would go around and all these different little functions, events around town. And mind you, this was off the heels of the civil rights movement from the 60s late, so this was kind of on the heels and shoulders of all of that stuff.
Okay.
So both of my parents being educators, I had all that stuff going on. I remember these parties in the house. We'd have all these continental Africans in the house, and I'd hear all this music. Right. All this music from all around the world. And we had, my father had Middle Eastern students. Some were trying to bribe him with a grade, of course. You know what I mean? Grades. I remember going.
Hey, guy's got to do what he's got to do.
He said that we went to this because as boys, me and my brother, we loved to eat, right? And he said, "Man, my father would tease me. You love to eat with your hands." And it was this Middle Eastern meal with chicken and rice, and the way they eat is family style. Right. No utensils.
Right.
And even this, so that was right up my alley. I was like, "Oh, yeah." So.
Right.
But my pops was like, "Yeah, well, that was kind of like they were trying to bribe me with the grade, but it didn't work, of course." But
classic.
so I had all these different, experiences and people and cultures and things that I was exposed to very young, and the music definitely at an early age opened me up, and of course with all that stuff, I've onto. My dad was a jazz aficionado. I heard all the great jazz drummers of the day, from my favorite old schoolers being like Max Roach, Art Blakey are my main two old school cats that, had it, so. Yeah. And of course, great percussionists like Mongo Santa Maria. Mm-hmm. I mean, the list goes on, man. I think some of the names are escaping me. So that's some of my background as far as that. And later on moving to like steel pan and, and all these things were just a part of my upbringing as well as, the social thing coming up at the same time because I was very much into that, So, I mean, at least I was exposed to it. I didn't know what it was at the time. I was just having fun, so.
Right. So through osmosis, your parents are having hangs at the house, having so many different people from different walks of life, different cultures coming in. All this is coming down on this little kid. Right. And you're just eating this up. Yeah. Not only are you eating the food, but you're eating the musicality. You're eating the culture up. And so this is how this starts to mold who you are as a musician. Tell me about Cliff Alexis. Is that his name?
Cliff Alexis.
I want to hear about
Senior.
Cliff.
Yeah, rest in peace. He just passed away last year.
Sorry to hear that.
And when I was out with the Revolution, matter of fact. And so Cliff, I call him my second father because he's the guy that really helped mold me. Okay. Not only as a musician, whatever little technical skills I have as far as theory, he really helped shine me off, and polish me a little bit. But he, amazing teacher, amazing man. He just had a unique way of teaching. I met him in this summer arts program called Twin City Institute for Talented Youth, T-City. And it was held
My
over
wife went to T-City for
Did
acting.
She? Okay, see, yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. and it was held over at
No.
McAllister College at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because I think maybe it moved at one point.
Noah
Or it-
Levy, you know Noah Levy, the drummer.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
he went there with my wife.
Is
So
that right?
obviously you're a little bit younger than us. But
Wow.
that is so cool. I had no
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
And I went there, I think, a year before I was supposed to, because I think you had to be a certain age. I think I was 8th grade or something like that. And or I was coming out of the 8th grade, I believe, something like that. And so I met him there. And somehow my father knew Cliff's wife, because I think she was in the community events and that kind of thing as well.
Okay.
So we met there, and I told him I played drums, and I kind of auditioned. I played a little bit, but although he already had a drummer in mind, he had a drummer that was there and, had a drum set and everything like that. So, of course, him being him and the brilliant man that he's I was like, I want to play drums. I'm a drummer. He's like, no, I'm going to put you on this drum over here. I'm going to put you on this double lead. I was like, huh. I was just getting this new experience that I'm coming into with steel pan, this guy with Trinidad and with this funny accent and a really thick accent I could barely understand, and
Right.
and but I knew it was special. And we spent that summer learning all these I mean, just amazing, like all the tunes of the day, whether it be Stevie Wonder, whether it be Steely Dan, as well as Tchaikovsky, Bach, Brahms. I mean, it was just a myriad.
On the steel
of-
pan, on the drum.
There's an orchestra. There's like 25, 30 kids. And the thing with steel pan, people don't realize, they're like, turn the organ off. It's like, there's no organ. This is what it sounds like,
Right.
But there are different voices. You have the bass voice, which you can have from 4, these are 55-gallon oil drums. People actually pound out and make into a concave surface. And there's a little bit of geometry involved, because you have to measure the notes. The bigger the note, the lower the tone.
Sure.
So the small, that kind of thing.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
you have bass voice, which can be up to, 6, 8, 9 drums. Some of them hanging sometimes. If you see these big,
man.
great orchestras, you have the cello voice.
Yep.
You have the guitar voice. You have the voice that plays melody. You have the voice that plays melody and harmony, the double seconds and double lead. So all these things I was, exposed to, and that summer is when it happened. It sparked me up, and so going into high school, Central, and at that time, high school. Before that year, I went into high school. It was from 10th. It was 10th through 12th.
Yep.
But that year they expanded from 9th, through 12th. So that was
So
the
you were a
year I went.
young man going into high
Yes,
school.
and then
Got it.
he just happened to be teaching at St. Paul Central, which is where I went, and so I continued my education with him there.
Wow,
And I later on
perfect.
met Homer Odell from Met, guitar player coming from Ann Arbor, Michigan. He transferred some kind of way, and we met there. So the story begins.
So
Yeah.
you met Homer, who's the guitar player in
Yes.
Mint. That's where you
Yes.
guys hooked up.
Yeah.
You were
And
in
he
ninth
had
grade.
he had
when you were-
experience in Ann Arbor, Michigan,
Okay.
with another steel band up there. As his stepdad Phipps, I forget his last name. Forgive me. But so they had a steel band up there as well. So he already had coming with experience, and we come together, and just amazing. And that's where it started, man. But Cliff was he's just an amazing man. I just forever indebted to him, and just as far as not only musically but also as a man. When I got in trouble, it's just like I said, it takes a village, and he was part of
Yes.
that village. Yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to go back later in life and thank him or spend time with him?
Oh yeah, well I would go back and get my steel pan tune. Matter of fact, I spoke
Really?
with him. Yeah, I was when I was going to return from the European thing with the revolution. My plan was to go and get it tuned. That was the whole thing, And then I heard the news he was sick in the hospital, and then the next thing it passed. So I was on, en route right after that to go get my pan tuned, and that happened. So, but yeah, we speaking all the time. He'd be
That's so
on me. He's
cool.
like, man, why you not calling me motherfucker? Why you got, he cussed me, just cussed me. See, I
Yeah.
mean, just amazing. I mean, he had such a brilliant way of teaching. I was also in concert band in high school, and he
Right.
would, the concert band teacher would come down. I was like, how are you teaching these kids? I mean, he would take kids with no prior musical experience at all, none, and we're playing the most complicated pieces, and he had a really brilliant way of, he would take it piece by piece. It would teach you in phrases. you know, which
Okay.
I'd never seen anybody. He'd be like, in no context. He'd be like, gong, 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 da, gong, gong.
Right.
No rhythmic, no rhythm, nothing. You know, we just be the notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, what are we learning? We didn't know. But he knew in his head what it was.
He
you
had
know.
the plan.
Yes, had
He
the
had
bass
the
voice,
plan.
the cello voice, the guitar voice, you know, quadraphonics, whatever. And next thing you know, he'd be like, okay, so like it goes, and he'd play it, an example, and then he'd count it out. So we were like, phrase by phrase, and we'd build this big monster of a arrangement, whether it be, you know, pop music or whether it be classical, whether it be jazz, you know,
Yeah.
amazing.
Sounds like a great man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Had a great way of teaching. Very popular class. And, you know, he really was a man who, just to speak to his character, he didn't really eat with the faculty. He ate with the students. You know, faculty
Is
had
that
their
right?
own, you know,
Yeah.
he ate with us. You know, so he was
that's
very
really
loved
cool.
and, you know, just really, really cool. So, and got a lot of kids out of trouble, just really set them straight. I mean, because he talked to you like it was a friend. You know what I mean? And a mentor. He got you straight, and he would talk straight. If you had to cuss, he's like, I don't care what you say. You tell your mother I cuss at you. Tell him, come here.
Yeah.
Like what? You know, he'd be like, and we just loved him. Just
Yeah.
loved him, man. Yeah.
So you